consider. Basically,
Ah, see. BMW. Too old to be made in Mexico, though. Call you soon. All right, BMW. Let me...
And do you know if he was ever physically abusive to her?
No, I don't give her a hand.
Michelle's brother did inform me that Michelle had stepchildren.
She raised his two children from the time they were little, like she's the mother. The girl with her daughter. And with Marie.
Just because he was not happy about the divorce. He had been known to snap when pushed, and the military training that he had just had.
Josh would have received definitely some marks of training. It definitely piques your interest. Comcast Business helps turn businesses into seamlessly restocking, frictionless paying, quickly customized, patient scanning businesses.
When it is safe to do so.
John says he's he thought that people feel that they respect him.
Sean companies can get away with anything. How did this business sell music local in the legend?
And to show you how we have to understand the gym.
24 hours into the murder investigation of Michelle Davis, detectives at the Des Moines Police Department have two potential suspects in their sights. Michelle's stepson, Josh, a Marine who recently returned home, and Randy, Michelle's soon-to-be ex. The detectives learned through a background check that
Josh, I'm just trying to get some basic information. I realize that your mom and dad were going through a divorce. Now, do you know, was there no contact order between your mom and dad?
She's in the process of doing one, but the lawyers have gone back and forth on that, but that's all I know.
Okay. Would you have ever been listed or for any reason that's part of the no contact order? No.
it was really important to find out if there's any motive for why Josh would be so angry at Michelle that he'd want to kill her. Maybe he's so angry at her because the divorce is going to divide up property unfairly to his dad.
Do you have any problems with your mom?
My grandma died at 8 years old because she was my mom. So I got back. He actually felt raised on people doing stuff. I didn't like, some of the things that she was requesting. And I told her, I said, don't just try to upset me because you told me you weren't going to try to make anything, and then you just wanted to out me, and then
What kind of stuff is she requesting?
just things like half the pension, half the house.
Josh Davis told me that on September 11, 2008, he went to the mall with his sister, went home approximately 3:30, watched a TV show, Sons of Anarchy. He believed his father came home at approximately 5:30 p.m.
Do you remember what time you got a phone call?
About, I want to say it's 8:35 because I ended up talking to my dad a little bit, and then I told him I wanted to go there. He kind of wanted to stay home by himself after hearing.
At that point, we knew a storyline that he locked himself into, and we were going to explore further into his alibi.
From what he told the investigators, there's only one person who can corroborate where Josh was when Michelle was shot. His father, Randy Davis. The detectives want to speak with him before father and son have a chance to talk.
Randy was brought to the station for an interview.
And I appreciate you coming down here. I understand it's a tough situation. Yeah. I left at 3:15. Then I ended up talking with my attorney. Yeah, some sort of negotiations with the divorce. Yeah.
Randy doesn't say a whole lot. He didn't seem very angry. He didn't seem really sad. He was just kind of, just really right in the middle.
So what time do you think it was when you got home? 4. And then once you were home, what'd you do? Okay, good. And my son looked at home. Yeah. What time did he get home? Actually 5 or so.
This directly goes against what the detectives have heard from Randy's son Josh, who told them that he had been home from 3:30 and that his father had not come home until about 5:30. We know that Michelle had been shot just before 5. So which one of these men are lying about where they were when Michelle was killed?
At that point, it's trying to figure out who's telling the truth and who's not telling the truth. Kind of like a card game. You know what cards you hold. I know what cards I hold. Sometimes you try to bluff.
Somebody's not telling us a full story.
10 out of 10 friends say you have to go to that wing place, and that pizza shop, and that noodle spot, which you have time for 0 out of 10 nights. Fortunately, DoorDash knows all your neighborhood hotspots, so you can always get the best of what's around. We wish you the best of luck with that. Shake up your dinner routine. Order with DoorDash.
As you redefine what's possible, Lexus refines what you deserve. Because a car that doesn't make you feel something is a car that stops short of amazing.
Taco Bell brought back crispy chicken nuggets. I can't believe how good they are.
Why can't you believe it?
Into Taco Bell. Taco Bell.
You're the breading in for the kitchen. Doesn't that feel very taco place? We're totally at taco place. That's a chicken place. That's also a taco place.
The Times Pictures David Stewart just heard conflicting information from Randy Davis and his son Josh regarding the whereabouts of Michelle was killed. So where does the truth lie?
Yes, you feel engaged to speak to Michelle? No. What do you think? You can pause this, Randy. Randy, do you know what we're talking to?
When somebody lawyers up, he is unavailable to us. It's odd, number one. 2, it hampers our investigation.
Always, somewhat cynically, we say, well, if you didn't do anything wrong, why do you need a lawyer? It just makes us suspicious of what are you hiding?
On September 12th, we were able to secure a search warrant for Josh's house and Randy's Ford F-150 truck.
What do you think?
We're looking
Not a
for
bad
any
return for a
evidence
few
that could
rumours in a
help this
dusty old
investigation.
barn, eh?
So,
There's the keys. Now off you go and turn some heads.
In 1954, Chevrolet entered their first international race, the Carrera Panamericana, with a new sports car. But this one threw a con rod through the engine block and died on the first stage. They've gotten much better at racing since then, lo juro. But now, it's all yours. I told Alex it was a Jimmy. He said, "You mean a Blazer?" I think him and the Oscar would get along.
It's a big clue, but without the murder weapon, the detectives still have no solid evidence, and either man living at the home could be the owner of the cleaning kit. At this point, detectives don't have enough to arrest anyone. And when it's time to lay Michelle to rest, 2 days later, both Josh and Randy show up to pay their respects to Michelle.
Our visitation,
standing in front. There's no far too far. It was hard to get up there to see it.
It was out in casketed. I didn't go inside. I was outside the whole time because I was already like a hot mess.
It was a kind of ironic. Our divorce was to be final on the day of her funeral.
Randy is definitely a suspect. You also have Randy's son, Josh Davis. Josh seemed to be angry because Michelle wanted half of Randy's pension and half the house during the divorce. I know that I have to wait on the cell phone information and interstate video. I need a confession or I need some witness. Let's bring in those witnesses from the interstate.
So the investigators start interviewing people, and they start looking for, is there any similarity between what unrelated witnesses may have seen? And there were witnesses who started to come forward who talked about an erratic driver. And I look in my mirror and he's right on my rear, just cut over all the lanes of traffic to the back lane. It looked like a male, but it was all red F-150 with over some stickers in the back window. I thought, okay, I caused an accident. We live in Iowa, right? There's lots of trucks. But there's stickers in the back of the window, so that starts to narrow it down. And who in Michelle's circle of people drives a red F-150 truck? Well, it's her husband, who's about to be divorced from her. Connecting the truck to Randy is a huge break. But without a good description of the driver, and with both Randy and Josh having access to the vehicle, the detectives need more evidence to build a case against the right man. When the footage from the interstate finally comes in, detectives scour it for anything that will help them identify who is behind the wheel of the red truck.
Our Department of Transportation, they do have cameras. They do not film, as in a continuous video, but they do take still pictures every few seconds.
We got very lucky and we were able to see what we believe was Michelle Davis's car and then a red pickup truck that was speeding up and then caught up with her at the time of the accident.
So detectives have to figure out who's driving the red truck.
The money is so important to them.
I was infuriated by that.
I have a good suspect. It's time to make him arrest.
Elevate your space with up to 60 days of fragrance with Glade House Control. Adjustable scent for any size room. SC Johnson.
That's not safe. Chicks Ahoy, here for happy. If you thought Subway subs were legendary, just wait until you try our new Doritos football nachos. Doritos nacho cheese sticks smothered with melty cheese piled high with all your favorite delicious toppings, all for just $5. Doritos and Subway. Two legends come together to create...
Two legends, don't you mean three?
No, Subway and Doritos. Two legends, just two.
No. Hey.
Who I'm going to talk to?
Try the legendary pairing of new Doritos football nachos today for just $5, only at Subway.
You see, it's legendary.
In the 4 days since Michelle Davis's deadly commute, DMPD detectives have narrowed down a possible suspect pool to two men very close to her, Josh and Randy Davis. Both were angry with Michelle, and with Josh living with his father, both had access to a red pickup truck seen pulling up beside Michelle's car just before she lost control of it. But when the video from the interstate showed who her killer is.
If you watch a VHS tape back in the day, that's the graininess of the video we had. So anytime you would try to expand it, the picture becomes more pixelated. There are no details that we were able to make out, being the driver of the vehicle, the plate of the vehicle.
And because the camera clicks at certain intervals and it doesn't operate as a streaming instrument, the camera did not catch the crash.
Kind of dejected. Well, your mind starts going in different directions. Obviously, Michelle Davis is alive when she leaves work that day at 4:30 p.m. So the other thing that would make sense is driving the route that we believed that she would have probably taken home. Trying to locate any surveillance cameras anywhere along the route around that time. I found video of a car wash that is on the route of Michelle Davis on Park Avenue, around the time that Michelle Davis would have been leaving work. And then we see Michelle Davis's vehicle, and several cars later we see the red pickup truck. It's amazing.
Despite their diligence in tracking down more surveillance of the truck, the videos never catch a glimpse of the driver. Detectives McTaggart and Siebert try reaching out to Josh again, only to learn that he has also lawyered up.
And then trying to get the cell phone records from Randy's cell phone. Now I'm able to verify some locations and who's calling and what time and how long they are.
Not only are we looking for incoming and outgoing calls, most importantly is tower location, where the towers are being pinged from that phone.
The cell phone records are great information in whether or not they can corroborate Randy Davis' statement.
The first phone call is about 2:30 in the afternoon from the law firm, and that's 25-30 minutes. And it does appear that the call started out by where his job site was and ended by where his house was. So after the lawyer, cell phone records show that there's another real brief phone call from Randy's sister around 4:30, and that cell tower is way away from his residence.
The problem is now he leaves his residence again, which is contrary to his story.
He is right by where Michelle works. Not only is by Michelle's work right when she gets off of work. I do feel like I have a good suspect. However, having a suspect and having enough to make an arrest are not the same. And I am running out of potential areas to gain evidence enough to get an arrest.
Detectives McTaggart and Siebert just need one solid break to push them over the finish line, and they get it with an unexpected call at the station.
September 19th, my sergeant called me on my phone and said that Josh was coming in at noon with his attorney to do an interview.
Josh Davis.
He gives information to the police that is absolutely unexpected.
Josh, this is your chance to tell us everything. What do you know, Josh? Tell me what you know.
You have any knowledge of who killed your mother?
Hey, we need another mango rush. Okay. Take your time. How many do you need? Just one? He's employed for the month. New Mountain Dew Mango Rush is only in Little Caesars, only for a limited time. Pizza, pizza.
September 19, 2008, 1 week after Michelle Davis's death, Josh Davis, the stepson she raised as her own, comes down to the police station with his lawyer to speak with detectives. But what exactly did he come to tell them?
And I came home from my sister's. My dad stuck us in the driveway. When I came in, I come down and said I wish he'd get from home. And he had his rifle. 22.
Josh revealed that his father has a .22 caliber gun, the murder weapon that the detectives have yet to find. That's a major break. If Josh is doing what it looks like he's doing, summoning up the courage to turn on his own father, his only surviving parent, they know he's been put in the middle of one of the worst family situations imaginable.
How do you know your dad is the one who shot your mom?
Did he say anything to you? Did he make a comment?
He just said he cut papers and says he's gonna live with nothing. I went against the wall and told me to not do anything stupid. And then he got his fucking love.
Josh stated that when his father returned home approximately 5:30 p.m., that he did not have in his
That's what he told me, did it?
And he
I didn't know until the news.
Josh's statement, it did make sense. Josh's story is sounding more credible than Randy's story because I know Randy has not told me the truth.
I thought that was an act of courage, integrity, and doing the right thing. It's emotional. He couldn't live with the fact that he knew his father killed his mother.
There's no way you could have carried this out unless your father. Do you think? There's absolutely no way. This would have tore you apart. Hold that in. It already is. I usually puke every morning. Can't sleep.
Randy Davis was arrested and charged with first-degree murder.
Didn't want to make a statement and went to jail.
What made this case so unique is the manner in which she was killed. How possibly could that have occurred? How close could he get to her? That's an incredible shot, and I think it's probably lucky, frankly. Unlucky for her, for sure.
Because Randy had never physically harmed Michelle, her family never dreamed that one day he would kill her. It is something they now have to come to terms with.
He would be greater, you know. He would get better.
So I never thought she was in any sort of danger. Psychological domination, financial domination. You don't see those signs right away. I've never get that the rest of my life.
I think Randy Davis's motive was a combination of different things. She was leaving him. He had no control over her anymore. And the money, which is so important to him, was an issue in the divorce. We obviously did not have the weapon or the casings, but we did have Josh's statements. Randy knew that we had that, and I think that's one of the reasons he may have decided to plead guilty.
Randy Davis took a plea with the county attorney's office, and he received a 50-year sentence for murder in the second degree.
I was infuriated by that. I wanted to see him squirm.
Everyone that knew her has changed from her being taken away. And There's just a cloud now. I remember Michelle as being part of me. When that's gone, we can replace it. This is a hurt that don't heal.
Thinking about my mom. I don't think there's ever gonna be a day I don't. I'll still bear talk to her. My mom was just amazing.
Michelle Davis was excited to be free from what had become an increasingly hostile home environment, and hoped that over time, the love she shared with her bonus children would overcome the turbulent emotions brought on by the divorce. But she never got the chance to enjoy this next phase of life because of the danger that often faces women who leave controlling men. Unfortunately, sometimes the killer relationship is the one that can't live and let live.
Cooking is the ultimate love language.
Well, let's go around, so let's talk about this thing. That was my
You know what they say.
What?
Valley Golden
Says that.
Just make the tough messes to finish hot. Cleans the toughest deeds, even without rinsing, so you can spend more time with your loved ones.
Good mowing me off. Always starts good.
And cleaning starts with finish. Stay here for good. All right. And that was my sister. She was dead.
Did he fall down and hit his head, or did something else happen here?
Banamato's death doesn't add up.
There was a footprint of blood. Somebody was there when this was happening. There was a lot of questions on what happened to Ben Motto.
But when dark secrets come to light,
Then what heard in his young and I having sex on the floor?
He told me several different times that he would get threatened.
He wanted it over.
the truth is stranger than fiction.
We became aware of a double murder. Someone made it look like she was trying to hang herself. His immediate response was, this person hired me to kill Ben Motto.
And it all ends
If you look at a conviction, what's the sense of the arrest?
with a killer relationship. We've all heard the term hopeless romantic, a person who continues to believe in love despite their past relationship struggles. That is Ben Amato. But Ben's not just a hopeless romantic, he's a helper. As a volunteer firefighter, he cares about everyone in his small town of Everett, Pennsylvania, and is known to be extremely dependable. So on November 16, 2001, when the 52-year-old doesn't follow his normal routine, people take notice.
My neighbor works there. So it's about that other vehicle is home. Too long. I just wanted someone to go and check up on this guy. What's the guy's name? Panama.
Once I got there, there were two members of the state police there who knew Ben Amato. We
What up,
walked
Devin?
through the door. It was very dark. We were in the basement level, and you could see at the bottom of the steps that Ben Amato was face down. There was a lot of blood pooled around his head. At the bottom of the set of steps, right next to Ben Amato's body, we could see Ben Amato's wallet. Within his wallet was $1,000 in cash. So we didn't think that this was a robbery or a burglary gone bad. Did he fall down and hit his head? Or did something else happen here?
You could see there were some items that looked like they kind of fell on him. There was a ceiling tile that just couldn't have appeared there from a fall.
The ceiling tile is up in a metal framework, so there had to be some sort of force that caused that to fall.
Ben Lotto is known for his warmth and generosity, the kind of guy you enjoy being around.
Ben was happy-go-lucky, just having fun working on cars and things.
Ben was always given a hand to help people. Even when somebody broke down on the side of the road, he would stop and ask them, do you need help? I'll go get you gas. And he wouldn't ask for the money back for the gas or anything. That's how type of person he was.
Ben was like a brother to me. I loved him. He was my best man at the wedding, and he was the godfather to my son. We were very close, very close.
Ben is in his 20s, working as a mechanic, when he falls in love for the first time with a woman named Becky.
Becky was always cracking jokes. The two of them, they were meant for each other. So Ben and Becky got engaged and got married. It was magical stuff.
Still, he doesn't know what's going on behind those doors, or when that seemingly perfect relationship is about to go up in flames.
One day, Ben left work early to go home and put Becky and this young guy having sex on the floor. And next thing you know, they're getting divorced and everything. And when, well, if he did, he never showed.
After Ben divorces Becky, he tries to jump back into the dating game. His new relationships never seem to work out.
Ben told me he wants to have somebody, have kids, and he's just not finding the right one. Then he met Susan. He goes, she's really nice.
Susan, a copy editor, is a recently divorced mother of 3, and Ben fits right into the family.
In June of 1984, I was 18, my brother was 19. My sister at the time was only 10 years old. When my mom first met him, I was very loving to her, pampering her, taking care of her. So I think my mom was attracted to that. We all loved Ben. He bought my first car for me and fixed it up. He was just very thoughtful and generous that way.
Ben believes he finally found a lasting connection.
So my mom was very happy. And then all of a sudden one day, I just remember them like, hey, we got married. And I was like, I was speechless. I didn't know what to say, but hey, I'm happy for you.
Ben has everything in his second marriage that he hoped for from the first. Content at last, he decides to make a big change.
They was Sparky, but
he didn't do nothing.
I knew Benamato.
Nobody, it just fell off the thing.
Really nice guy. If there was
Under this, the drain thing.
this is 24/7, 360 days a year. This is always on alert. If my room is alarm went off, he was always there. We could count on him for showing up.
That was a problem between my mom and Ben.
Watch your feet, though.
When their calls come in, like if you're in the middle of dinner or if it's a holiday, like he would be out of there. And I remember my mom saying, sometimes I just want to be first.
6 years later, and now Ben is the reason for an emergency call. As the day proceeds, CSIs continue to collect and analyze evidence found at the scene.
What was really concerning is we started to find impact areas throughout the stairwell.
There was over 40 impact points that were visible in the walls and in the wood. When we started looking at the impact points, we could see the black coloring. So we knew there was some type of black object with a rounded end.
It was very clear that someone had to hit these stationary objects like the drywall or the door with some type of tool. But at that point, we still didn't know exactly what was going on.
It's a tight-knit community. Ben was involved in the project. So it didn't take long
it got out that Ben was found deceased. One of Ben Amato's stepdaughters arrived at the scene, Erin Stanger, and she immediately went into panic mode and was very upset. That's when she told me that Ben had been previously married to her mother.
And caused the marriage to dissolve.
Around 1996, the relationship was kind of, deteriorating. They drifted apart. Ben wanted the relationship to work. The family.
Ben's second divorce doesn't shake his faith in love. Shortly after the breakup, he enters into a new romance.
From conversation with Erin Stanger, his stepdaughter, I also learned that Ben Amato had a relationship with an individual named Cheryl Kunkel. They had dated for some time.
Hey, baby. Some of those.